Hello, everybody. This is a brief summary for chapter one in bullet points, which will help you study the novel and understand it. Number one, before reading chapter one, there are some points. Number one, Philip Pip, where Pip is the major character, the narrator, and the hero of the novel. Number two, Pip is an orphan who lives with his sister, Mrs. Joe, and her husband. Number three, Pip's parents and five of his brothers and sister died when Pip was very young, so he does not remember them. Number four, Mrs. Joe, his elder sister or Pip's elder sister, is always cruel to Pip, unlike her husband, who was very kind to him. Number five, Mrs. Joe is always angry and she always complains about Pip. Number six, Joe Gargery is the village blacksmith. Now, let's start chapter one. Number one, Pip goes to visit his parents' grave on the Christmas Eve. When he's going home, he sees a convict whose name was Magwitch in the marshes. The convict, who has escaped from a prison ship, has leg irons and handcuffs. Magwitch, the convict, asks Pip about his name, where he lives, and who he lives with. Magwitch asks Pip, who is very scared, to bring him some food and a file to take off the leg irons. Pip feels safe when he arrives home, but his sister is angry with him as usual. Mrs. Joe, Pip's sister, does not like the idea of looking after him. While working in the kitchen that night, Pip hears a sound that warns the people in the village that a convict has escaped. Actually, there were two convicts. Number nine, the next day, Pip returns to the marshes to take the food and the file to Magwitch. Before Pip sees Magwitch, he sees another convict, but they do not talk to each other. The other convict escapes at once he saw Pip. 11. Pip meets Magwitch, gives him the food and the file, and tells him about the other convict. After eating the food, Magwitch uses the file to remove the leg irons. At home, Mrs. Joe was preparing the house for the guests. Pip feels guilty for stealing the food and the file. However, he didn't tell Joe about what happened because he was afraid that he may lose the only friend he has. The guests arrive and Mrs. Joe invites them to try the meat pie. Mrs. Joe goes to the kitchen to bring the meat pie. At that time, Pip runs to the front door and opens it to go out to escape. However, when Pip opens the front door, a group of soldiers enter the same time Mrs. Joe discovers that the pie has gone. The appearance of the soldiers make the guests forget about the pie. The soldiers need the blacksmith to mend some handcuffs. The soldiers think that the escaped convicts are hiding in the marshes. Pip does not tell the soldier that he has seen the convicts. Joe mends the handcuffs. The soldiers leave for the marshes and Pip and Joe follow them. Both Pip and Joe hope that the soldiers won't find the convicts. They felt sympathy toward them. Suddenly, they hear angry shouts nearby. This is the end of chapter 1 summary. See you in another chapter, the next episode with chapter 2. Goodbye.